Alrighty everyone, we are now getting closer to the middle point of 2023, where we already know that Jon and Dave have been preparing to make a series of announcements this month for the upcoming Star Wars projects, as well as a D23 that's going to take place later this year as well. Now we know that also Disney executives have currently been in a very big shakeup over how to handle Star Wars and the future of this franchise and where it's really all going. And there's one thing in particular that is quite upsetting, and especially upsetting for the fandom, about what's to be regulated by different Disney executives and their visions. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, as you all know, there's been a lot of problems with the franchise ever since Kennedy got on board many years ago, and what we saw with The Last Jedi, with Kenobi and Boba Fett, those are the three big ones that Kathleen Kennedy really created a big fan division for. Now, when we look at stuff related to things, for example, like Mando Season 2 and the upcoming Ahsoka Tano series and stuff like that, you know, these are things that fans are already cherishing as we speak. We know that Ahsoka and how the visionaries of Jon and Dave and Disney executives are viewing this as the home run on Disney+. They really want to make this the new flagship. We've said this before, and that's their overall goal right now. However, there's one piece of bad news that's been happening between Disney executives. We're going to be going over every single piece about this and how it does actually involve Kathleen Kennedy. Now, as you all know, Disney is still on their A game to get Kathleen Kennedy kicked out of Lucasfilm by this August. They are still letting her go and firing her as a producer for many upcoming Star Wars shows progressively. However, on top of this, with many new Disney executives getting ready to create a plan for the new roadmap of Star Wars projects, it's described that currently Disney executives that are loyal to Kathleen Kennedy and others that are more in line with Jon and Dave's vision have been holding multiple meetings about Kathleen Kennedy's contract. In her contract, Kennedy is still allowed to have one Star Wars movie made for Disney+. And even if she is fired or decides to step down before this goes into production, her vision will remain intact for that project. This also includes a third Star Wars TV show past Acolyte and Skeleton Crew that would serve as Kennedy's vision. Executives recently made a certain agreement surrounding this in order to fulfill Kennedy's contract. This comes after the Disney shakeup between the executives, the board, and Bob Iger. What will be made final by Friday is that Kennedy's contract will be fulfilled before or after she is fired, in an attempt to balance things out over at Lucasfilm. Different Disney executives have been arguing that handing Jon and Dave all the creative power over at Lucasfilm so far is not fair to other creators who want their vision fulfilled, and that this involves Kathleen Kennedy as well with two upcoming projects. Now, as of now, it's looking very likely that Kennedy will at least get one more Star Wars show fulfilled in her creative vision. The Star Wars movie, however, for Disney Plus may or may not get approved, and that really all depends on how the meeting on Friday goes between different executives. So let me stop right here for 1 second. Now, we talked about this before in the past, that there is one Star Wars movie and one Star Wars TV show for Disney Plus in Kennedy's contract still to be fulfilled, basically. And Kennedy's trying to take advantage of that. She most obviously reached out to the executives that are in favor of her, got them into some kind of shakeup with the other executives, and it's just causing a big mess over at Disney right now. So what does this look like for Friday? Well, we're going to find out exactly what gets authorized and what does not. If you guys want my 2 cents on this, I don't believe the movie's going to get approved. I do believe that there's a very good chance that her Star Wars show, the third one, could very well get approved, since that's something that, you know, will be really embedded in Kennedy's legacy, so to speak. That's what she wants to actually create before or after she's even fired or decides to step down. Now, given that, yes, Disney is still absolutely getting her, you know, off of Lucasfilm, this is no change at all, but the executives are really getting into a big mashup, a big shakeup over Handing Jon and Dave all the power in the world, they believe it's unfair. Some executives are pulling this up over at the meetings. And again, guys, none of this is completely final just yet. It will be made a decision by Friday during this big meeting that's going to happen between Iger, the executives, the board, stuff like that. And so this really isn't the greatest news, and it's something that I would never want to wish for any Star Wars fan out there. You know, nobody likes Kathleen Kennedy's vision for the most part. You know, when you look at what she did with the Star Wars fandom, what she did with George Lucas, and how she disrespected him, backstabbed him, did so many terrible things to the guy, and this is exactly why he did not show up to the Episode 9 world premiere, by the way. He has a big grudge with Kathleen Kennedy. There's no doubt about that, alright? So, the next big thing about this is something, of course, that Jon and Dave have not been happy about. However, Disney executives want to have a broad vision instead of just two creators. The other executives are trying to fight against this plan for giving Kennedy another Star Wars series to approve to be her in her favor. Though Kennedy has been let go as a producer for many upcoming shows and will continue to get fired from upcoming ones as well, this new series would be another change for Kennedy to continue her legacy after she is fired or even stepping down at that. So basically part of this contract is that even after she's let go, a project or two will be in Kennedy's favor. And this is something that I think is completely unfair. I don't know why they are doing this or trying to convince other executives and board members to move forward with that. But that's the overall layout of everything. Now, the other thing on top of this, too, that I think a lot of fans need to be made very well aware of is that there's a lot of things going into Star Wars right now. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they gave it their all with Star Wars Ahsoka. Like, this is going to be, like, the big deal. This is, like, the show. If they can't fulfill the fans' needs with this show, they're in trouble. And Jon and Dave realized that. That's why they took so very long on this project. It's exactly why, by the way, they delayed it from June until a couple of months after. Alright? So, you know, props to them for doing that. I give them full credit on doing that. I'm all for a delay. I'm happy with it. Take your time on that show. Make it as well as possible. And even if we don't get this thing until the fall, so be it, you know? I think that they have to really take their time on this. Make sure it's going to be great and a hit. Again, Disney wants Ahsoka to be the home run of Disney Plus Star Wars. That's the overall vision. So, on top of this too, there's also a bigger problem that, lies in this, is that we know that Dana Brunetti is still the top candidate to take over Lucasfilm as president. Now, even though Kennedy's not getting that many contracts fulfilled, it's going to be 2 max so far right now. Basically, executives are trying to create a balance where it's not just going to be all Jon and Dave content. They also want a lot of other creators to lead projects. For example, Tony Gilroy. They want him to make more projects beyond Andor Season 2. They want other creators to step in as well, on top of Tony Gilroy. They don't want everything to just be Jon and Dave. So, I can understand that. I understand that, but just get good creators, right? Tony Gilroy is a talented guy, so I liked him with Rogue One. I liked him with parts of Andor. There's a possibility that they could do great things with that. So anyways, guys, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.